How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking collections. So today we're going to be talking about my Doctor Who 3.75 inch action figures. Now, this collection, which I've gathered over the years, I collected very heavily from series 1 to 2, well, wave 1 to 2, and then kind of stopped and just added bits in here and there because I got very bored of the 3.75 inch wave very quickly. But I have managed to gather quite a few figures over the past few years. I've got quite a decent collection. I can remember what was in wave 1 and 2, but after that it starts to get into a mess. So we're going to look at wave 1, the figures I got from there, wave 2, the figures I got from there, and then the rest of the figures which I've got. I can't remember where I got these figures from. I remember wave 1 and 2 was from Argos, but the rest of it I believe was online, mystery boxes and things like that. So let's get right into it. So the first figure that I had out of wave 1 was the 11th Doctor, as you can see here. Now, he had a decent looking attire, not really looking like Matt Smith in the head. The hair sculpt wasn't the best, but it was the first time Character Options had gone down to such a small size. The articulation is quite good. You do get the T-pose, 360 degree spin on the head, arm spin 360, 90 degree at the elbow, hand spin, you get the kick, you just get the bend and no swivel. Actually, I thought there were swivel. But yeah, so I got the Matt Smith figure from that wave. I also have the Clara from this wave. Now, once again, this doesn't look like Jenna Coleman. It is a decent figure for the first wave, but I wasn't really too keen on it after buying it and looking into it a bit more. Now, the next figure that I have out of the wave, which I believe they did perfectly, is the Weeping Angel figure. Now, this looks perfect to me. I mean, yeah, there is only articulation on the arm part there, and there isn't actually articulation on the elbow, but you can still get that classic covering their face type of pose, and I think that is a great figure. And this is where Character Options really did well. As well as that, we have got the Ice Warrior figure, as mentioned in some previous videos of mine. Now, I'd love to see this return to 5-inch wave. This is actually a very good figure. I believe that they are very good at doing the aliens and not so good as the actual characters, as in the Doctor and the humanoid characters. But this one is an amazing sculpt. As well as this one I've touched on as well, it is the Cyberman, the Series 7 variant. Now, this needs to be in the 5-inch wave. I mean, the detail that they have on it, it is just an amazing figure. Great articulation on this one, you do get to kick out. So it is a great articulation, great figure, and I'm glad I did have this in the collection with wave 1. Then the next figure I got was actually the Dalek from wave 1. The only reason you could tell this is from wave 1 compared to the others is because the little blue at the end here, it's a lot larger than the rest of it. It covers up the whole of the front, whereas the ones released later, which I've got, cover a lot less amount. And then that was it for the main wave of wave 1, but there was a special figure which you could get in wave 1, and this special figure was in fact Dalek Sec. Now, I did manage to get this, and as you can see, the iris hole is a lot smaller than it is on the main Dalek, and that is something that Character Options did actually emphasis on throughout moving. Now, the Daleks, they look perfect. I mean, I've got my Greens 3D printed Dalek here, so it isn't a Character Options release, but it just looks like a smaller version of exactly the same thing, and the Daleks they're actually great in the sculpt. So the aliens of wave 1, perfect. The humanoid characters, not so good, but once again, being a completionist, I did get the whole of wave 1. So let's look at wave 2 and see what we got there, but I believe wave 1, I was happy with it at the time. Looking back now, could be better, but it was good enough at the time. So moving on to wave 2, we in fact got the David Tennant figure. This was the first figure I got from wave 2. Now, once again, it doesn't really look like Tennant. It's just a standard attempt. It is a decent attempt. It's got his long overcoat, and you can't have enough of these because they can be used for multiple things. And in the 5-inch wave, we got that many Tennant releases. It was unreal. And I believe that's what they were trying to bring to the 3.75-inch range. As well as this, we had the 11th Doctor's companion, Amy. Now, this was all in the blacked out attire. I know they did later release it in a different paint attire. This is from Asylum of the Daleks, which was a great episode in Series 7, and I'm glad that they released it because it did go well on the shelf next to the 11th Doctor. And speaking of the 11th Doctor, we also got the Series 5 outfit which he had. Now, it doesn't look like Matt Smith at all. The head sculpt is a lot better than the previous head sculpt, and it is a lot better sculpt in general, to be honest. And you can actually tell it is meant to be Matt Smith. However, it is inferior to the 5-inch figure wave. Then the next figure in the wave, this is when Peter Capaldi decided to take over the role, and this is the figure that we got, the Peter Capaldi. Now, one thing which I found very interesting with this is from the Series 1 Matt Smith and the Series 2 Peter Capaldi, you can in fact pull the heads off very easily and swap them over. So you've got an 11th Doctor just about to regenerate and a Peter Capaldi with the bow tie. So I found that very interesting and quite nice actually that they did think about integrating each figure. Now the next figure I got from Series 1 was the re-release of Jenna Coleman's Clara. Now this is a lot better, you can actually see Clara a bit more in this. Once again it's the same sculpt, just different hair and head sculpt, but the dress is exactly the same sculpt. I mean, if you look at it, it is exactly the same figure apart from the head sculpt and repaint, but I prefer the Wave 2 figure than the Wave 1 figure. Then in this we did also get an Asylum Dalek, which went well with the Amy Pond figure. Now, how's it going guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking collections. Now I'm actually happy to have this figure in the set. It goes well next to the Amy Pond figure, and I think this is a perfect figure to go out with. Once again, it's got the amazing detail on the paint wash. You can tell it's a Dalek perfectly. All the standard Dalek articulation. It was just a great figure. The next figure that I had has actually suffered some damage, and I've tried to repair it before when I was younger, and it is a Genesis Dalek. Now the eye stalk has in fact snapped and been glued into place, so it would come out a bit further like this one, but it is in fact shortened. But this is a great figure. Once again, this is the first time I actually saw a classic Dalek in figure form before I actually got my 5-inch figures. So this is actually what started the collection of that. So I am glad that I got this. It's a great sculpt. It really does look good. And yeah, it's great to have in the collection. So that was Wave 2. And once again, being the completionist I was at that age, I was happy to collect it all. I was willing and I was actually happy with the whole collection. But here is where I kind of stopped collecting when Wave 3 came out because there weren't as many announcements, there weren't as many advertisements, and it just got very blurry between the lines. So I didn't actually complete all these series so far as I know. So this is from Wave 3 and 4 combined, the Daleks which I got. I did get the Rusty Dalek, but this is in fact the electric one with the toothbrush on the bottom. So it vibrates along. As you can hear, it is now vibrating and moving along. I would have preferred to get the main release of this one, but I picked this up very cheap in with a set and I really couldn't complain. The next one I got was a later release of the standard Dalek. As you can see here, the blue eye, which is in fact a lot smaller than the Wave 1 release, and it looks a lot cleaner than the Wave 1 release as well, personally. But once again, it's a great Dalek figure, and being a collector, I had to pick it up. Next figure I got was the Supreme Dalek in the classic variant, the gold one. Now, I was happy to get this. I can't remember at all where I got this from, if I picked it up in person or online, but I'm very happy that I had this. It looked great next to the Genesis Dalek and expanded the classic collection. As well as this, I got a figure which I've always wanted in the 5-inch figure wave. Now, I don't know if they've released it in the 5-inch figure wave or not, but it is the Dalek with the mutant, Dalek with the scoop. Now, this is a great figure. It really was unexpected when I managed to pick this up, and I picked this up in a bit of a bundle where it was boxed, and I opened it when I was younger, but I'm glad to have this in the collection. And the last Dalek which I have, I've in fact kept boxed because I know the value of it now because I'm no longer a child, and it is the Supreme Dalek which I got in one of my mystery boxes before now. I have got this in the 5-inch figure wave, and I have compared the two side by side, and this just looks like a scaled down version, and it is absolutely perfect. As well as this, we have got, I can't remember what this is, I remember it being out of the Caretaker. I bought this as part of Wave 3, and I thought you could actually attach and detach the legs, but you couldn't. Articulation is very basic on it, but then the prop actually had very basic articulation as it was. And at this point, I did kind of lose interest in Doctor Who and stop watching Doctor Who. hence why I didn't collect as much figures as well. Next figure I got, once again, it is a cracked and screaming Weeping Angel. Now, this is perfect. This is, I believe, when it came out with the Angels Take Manhattan set, which I have got all the 3.75-inch play sets, but I'm very happy with this, and it does look perfect next to the other Angels, with one covering their eyes and this one reaching out and screaming after you. It does look good as a collection on a shelf. But once again, 3.75 inferior to the 5-inch, so I never actually put it on the shelf. The next figure we've got two of the exact same figure with just repaints. Now, I know one of them was in a wave and one of them was in a 3-pack. Don't know which one's which, and I can't actually remember how I got these. But it's two different Zygons which got released. This was about on the 50th anniversary, and they do look well as the Zygons. I just wish they would have basically blew these up into a 5-inch figure wave, and that was my biggest issue with this wave. It was good enough, but it would be better as a 5-inch figure wave, so I probably will be banging on about that a hell of a lot. But these figures were very good at the time, very happy with them, and they do deserve to be on display, but they're just not good enough with the rest of the wave. Next figure I got, it is Danny as a Cyberman. I never really liked the character of Danny, and was that Danny even his name? I believe it was, Clara's boyfriend. But I just don't like this. He's basically the same as the Wave 1 Cyberman, just with a different head sculpt, which works, but I just didn't like the idea of this figure because, yeah, he was a key part in the storyline, where he was the leader of the Cybermen disobeying Missy, but simultaneously, it wasn't significant enough to deserve a figure, in my opinion. Another figure we have got, this is when they stopped doing the peg holes on, well, the peg holes are still there, but the stands, they stopped supplying them with them, and it is the Foretold. Now, I did my character options figures. I completely forgot about this, I believe, and someone I know in the comments actually said that this would have been a good idea as a figure. Well, that is correct. This would have been a great idea in a 5-inch figure away from the Orient Express, and it is very well detailed, but just inferior in size. Once again, this is Character Options' best work in the 3.75-inch figure wave, in my belief, as well as the Daleks and the Cybermen and the Weeping Angels. But it just, the aliens are good, but when it comes to the actual humanoid characters, they're just not. So I see why it got cancelled and moved back to the Series 5 Collector Wave. Another figure we have got is the 10th Doctor without the coat. Now, as I said earlier, it seemed like they actually wanted to have as many 10th Doctors in the wave as we have in the 5-inch figure wave. So it's understandable why they did it. I know they also have released him with a pair of spectacles, which I didn't pick up, but I'm glad that I had this in the collection because, once again, it did look good at the time. Still not the best. Then we've got Peter Capaldi in his Series 8 attire. They did actually release this in the 5-inch wave. This was when the collector wave crossed over, and I do have that figure. So getting this first and then getting the other one, it's basically the same figure, blew up in scale. If they can do it with this, why can't they do it with the previous figures? Something I've been annoyed about for a long time and touched on in previous videos. But it is a good figure for Character Options, to be honest. It is the one that kind of is the best human character which I've seen. Another one we've got, this is a Wave 4 Clara. No base again. Personally, this is the worst Clara figure they've done for me. The neck joint is just too obvious. The outfit isn't the best. I just really hate that figure. Next thing we've got once again another regenerated Peter Capaldi with a different head sculpt. Now I don't know where I got this from. I can see it's a different head sculpt. The head sculpt isn't as plain white and grey washed, so I'm guessing it was just a re-release. And then we've got an exact re-release of Amelia Pond, just with different paint apps, which I can see why they've done it. Same time, kind of a waste of time. And then we've got the 11th Doctor in the green coat, which is basically an exact re-release of the Wave 1 11th Doctor with the Wave 2 head sculpt and a different paint. And that is basically my 3.75-inch collection, apart from the TARDIS, which I had. which was this. And if you look inside, oh, can you see? It is actually the 10th Doctor. It is the 11th Doctor Series B, 7B, or TARDIS, I believe. And this did actually come with like a mounting plate because the bottom it wasn't as spinnable as possible. Yeah, so it came with this clear acrylic plate which you had to somehow clip on like that, and then you could hold that and spin it. Now to me that is very boring. I mean, the spin and fly TARDIS is the spin and fly for a reason. Why did we regress back to this? It just didn't make sense to me. I mean, this pull to open door didn't actually open, there was actually nothing on the inside. So I just didn't like this wave at all, and it made no sense to me. I mean, I don't know if I've still got batteries in it. The 3.75 inch wave, understand why it was done. Collected it, did I like it? In hindsight, I don't. At the time I did, because it was obviously more Doctor Who figures to go along with the series. But looking back, I regret collecting it, to be honest, and I probably will be selling it all in a few years' time. So that's it for this week's video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week for some more Doctor Who content.